Players of online video games can be very unforgiving creatures. And I mean, it's 2019. On the internet, you know as well as me that the internet does not forget, much less forgive. So today, because I could not come up with anything better, we're going to talk about 5 times that Blizzard managed to really rustle out jimmies. The good thing about this is that, for a lot of these cases, Blizzard has actually turned around and recognized their wrongdoing, ultimately resulting in a happy end. So it isn't all that bad. Anyway, let's jump right into the list. Number 1. Be careful what you wish for. Now, that quote is not gonna mean a heck of a lot to you without the context in which it has been said. And I want to make sure that even if you have never played the games in question, you can understand why players have been pissed about this. The quote we're talking about has been said in relation to a new hero release in Overwatch. Essentially, the player base has been complaining about how the dive meta has been dominant for a very long time, and the game starts to get boring. Any game would if you keep doing the same things over and over again, I guess. Especially in Overwatch, where you have such a diverse cast of heroes that are being reduced to a small portion of viable meta picks. Anyway, Blizzard's solution to the whole problem was much less the iFixit approach and more the sledgehammer variant. Rather than carefully balancing the roster of characters, they've introduced a brand new hero that was meant to counter dive, and her name was Brigitte. The quote, "Be careful what you wish for," has been said by Jeff Kaplan, who has largely been responsible for player communication at the time while being the game director. During an interview, he dropped that bombshell on us, essentially saying, well, you guys didn't like dive, so we made dive go away, and now you're still not happy. Well, yeah, players expressed their dislike for playing the same meta for a very long time, but they never explicitly asked for a character that is at the same time a tank, a healer, and a DPS hero. Brigitte, at the time of release, could one-shot any regular 200 HP hero, 1v1 any DPS that is not Pharah, and make the life of actual tanks a nightmare by stunning them out of existence. The long and short of it is that she was completely overpowered, and she was not only strong, but she was also really easy to play. So easy that players could skip multiple divisions worth of ranking by playing nothing but her. So it might be less about what we have been wishing for and more about your interpretation of what we wished for. Because let me tell you, Blizzard, that definitely was not it. Number 2. Pay now, get content later. Alright, so I know that World of Warcraft is a meme to everybody who does not play it, but you don't have to have played the game to understand the following concept. Imagine you have a premium AAA game that charges a box price. On top of that box price, you also have to pay a monthly subscription to play it. Then you also have to buy a new expansion every couple of years while still paying your sub, and now Activision decides it's a really good idea to also add microtransactions to the mix. I don't think I have to explain why microtransactions leave a bitter aftertaste when you have a recurring box price to pay on top of a monthly sub. But in this particular case, it is not just about the fact that they sell microtransactions in the premium game, though it says something about the state of WoW when there's a paid option to literally skip the leveling grind. Anyway, Activision's timing is just really weird. Every so often they're going to introduce a new mount to the store, and mounts are really expensive. Not only are they expensive, but very often they are reskins of existing models that are already in the game. Not all the time, but often enough to make you wonder about the choice of game you have made. Point being, they have this great idea where they introduce new mounts during times where players are already very agitated. Why? Because it's the end of a raid tier, or because the last patch has been very lackluster, or because features that were promised at launch have still not made it into the game 6 months after. So while players are still waiting for actual content to make it into the game, Activision drops their showcase videos of new mounts and they get absolutely bummed. Every single time. Obviously, they still sell well enough for them to keep doing it, but it is very obvious that the core community is not happy about it. Number 3.
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Okay, I mean, you knew this one was coming. One does not simply make a video on the top 5 times that Blizzard pissed off their players without talking about Diablo Immortal. Now, there are a couple things to be said here. For one, it's not that easy to understand why people were so angry without actually being in the Diablo community. For me, somebody who only ever dabbled in the tutorial, the game looked fine. I mean, I'm not into mobile gaming one way or another, but nothing struck me as particularly bad, other than the fact that they tried to sell a mobile game to a predominantly PC-heavy live audience. There is a lot of context that goes into it, and I could not do it justice in the short segment that I've dedicated to each and every point. I'm sorry for bastardizing what is actually a more complex situation, but I think all of us heard about the aftermath of that situation. I do feel for whoever was put on the spot like, alright dude, you're gonna have to tell them that all we have to show is a mobile game. I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
No, it's a fully.
Yeah, well, I feel like they should have gotten a more experienced type of spokesperson to do the announcement, because really, if you are Blizzard and you look at just the facts, trying to sell a Diablo mobile game to an audience that loves you for your standing in the PC gaming community, and not having anything else to quench the rage, you need somebody who can handle the heat. And clearly they did not find the right person for it. So I'm really not blaming the people that were put on the spot to do the presentation more than I blame the PR experts at Blizzard that should have seen this coming a mile away. And just putting somebody on stage who knows how to deal with an angry live audience would have gone a long way in not making this a massive meme. I mean, players would have still been pissed, but at least we wouldn't hold that quote against them until the end of time. Number 4.
You think you do, but you don't.
Bruh. I mean, seriously, this is the thing that inspired me to make this video in the first place. I've been spending more time playing classic WoW recently than anything else. And if there's one quote that people won't let you forget, it's, "You think you do, but you don't." The tens of thousands of people waiting in queue to play the game are a testament to, you know what? Maybe we think we do because we actually do. But kinda like with the Diablo Immortal situation, I feel like there's some amount of nuance to it. I mean, look at it from their perspective. They've been working on the same game in excess of 10 years, 15 by now, and obviously, you'd think that your more recent work is better than what you did back then. The same thing goes for a lot of us. I generally think that my videos today are better than the ones I made a few years ago. If you practice, let's say, drawing, you probably think that you are better now than you were when you first started. Again, it should say something about the current state of the game that so many players rather want to go back to vanilla than playing the latest expansion. But the point is that vanilla WoW and current WoW are very fundamentally different. They are different enough to which I believe that us wishing to play one over the other can be based on more than just nostalgia. Hell, I have not played WoW until the tail end of the first expansion, so I never even experienced vanilla WoW back then. And I'm still liking classic better than retail. Retail is what we're calling the modern version of the game. Anyway, if there's one thing you should never do as a developer, it's telling your players what they do and don't want. Don't get me wrong, if we're being completely honest here, then yes, players actually don't know what they want. No wait, let me rephrase that. We do know what we want, but we don't always know how to get there. I would not want to play classic WoW if retail WoW still gave me the same level of accomplishment and permanent progression that it used to. But I don't know how to make your game better. I'm not a developer. All I know is that classic gives me something I like, and whatever retail is doing is just not doing it for me. By the way, if you are into classic WoW or you just want to learn about it, I am streaming almost every single day over at twitch.tv/Terios. If you like to say hi, you know where to find me. So let's finally move on to the last point in our video. Number 5, the Overwatch League. Overwatch League is undeniably pushing esports forward. After they decided to make it, I only ever hoped for its success because a failure of this magnitude would have effects on the industry as a whole. However, it is also undeniable that people were really pissed about Activision Blizzard deciding to take matters in their own hands. You see, a lot of OG competitors from a variety of different games saw their respective esports grow over time, but Overwatch was barely functional in its own competitive mode, and Blizzard already decided to try and push an esports league. Their Tier 2 scene was suffering with players grinding without getting paid, developers were relocated to work on features of the league rather than actually making content for the game, and their blatant approach to monetization left a bitter aftertaste of greed. It very much feels like the Overwatch League has been built on many sacrifices that would bleed out the community over time. During the content drought, a lot of creators left to cover different games, and a lot of casual players followed suit. The remaining core player base would suffer through awful and lackluster balancing, eventually turning competitive play into a massive joke. While I listed the points in this video in no particular order, I feel like the magnitude in which the Overwatch League has hurt the game is often overlooked, because the people who left were not necessarily the ones making a ruckus on social media. They were the ones that left silently because they didn't see the point anymore. Why keep playing Overwatch if Blizzard cares more about a dysfunctional esport than their actual game? And as such, I left this one for last. Again, as I said in the beginning, a lot of these stories actually have a happy end. The following patch 8.2 in World of Warcraft was universally celebrated. Blizzard confirmed they are working on multiple Diablo projects that are not mobile games. Classic WoW obviously ended up happening, and the Overwatch League no longer takes away from development resources. But obviously, these were not the only times times that Blizzard pissed off their players. A lot of different balance patches in Overwatch, garrisons in World of Warcraft, certain cards in Hearthstone. Would you have put something else on the list? Let me know down in the comment section below. But until then, thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and hey, maybe I'll see some of you guys over on Twitch. Would be a first for me, you know, having viewers and all. Anyway, thanks again for watching, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day.